Ebro in the morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg, Boz, Cozz, and the Dreamville family is all here. Actually, your name, sir?
Omen.
Omen. I never met you before.
Okay.
So,
it's all good.
All due respect. Boz, Cozz, how are you guys doing?
Good. Cool,
now,
man.
I'm not even going to front. Rosenberg has been on your music long before me. I'm late in the game, but I'm supposed to be late. I'm the old man. Rosenberg, educate us on Boz and Cozz, please, sir.
I educate them. I mean, I know Boz from Queens.
That's right.
Cozz, you also from Queens?
No, I'm from South Central.
He's from South Central.
Los Angeles, California.
His mic is dumb quiet, by the way.
You gotta talk closer to it.
Yo, yo, yo.
See?
You're right, that is better. Yeah, that actually helped. Omen, where are you from?
Chicago.
He's from Chi. So here's what I've learned. Boz is from Queens. Cozz is from South Central.
No, we learned together. Man.
Oh, sorry. So anyways, yeah, that's all I have. Dope artists. They're on Dreamville. They're kind of in an interesting spot where they get to open these this tour, this Big Sean, J. Cole tour. So they're getting in front of huge crowds. Boz been doing it. I think I've been knowing Boz's name the longest for now, like 2-3 years.
Right.
That I've known your name. Did a sold out show together at SOBs, doing his thing.
So Boz, you being from Queens, were you and Cole working together when he was at St. John's? Did you know him from that time, or you met him later?
I knew him, but I didn't even start rapping until like 2010. You know, so at first it was just real amateur, but Cole used to always be like, you know, you got your own style. Like, I can't wait to see where you're gonna be in like 2 years, year and a half, whatever. You know, so I would just keep writing, keep trying to develop my craft. And then it got to a point where he was like, yo, come out on road, let's work on some music. So I started going out on the road just to really develop as a songwriter and as a performer, seeing it, you know, not even performing, but just seeing people perform. You know, we went on the Club Paradise tour with Drake. Then we did Cole's tours, and then when the Interscope thing came around, it was like, you know, I want you to be on the label. Like, you know, let's do it.
And you, Cozz, how did you connect with Cole for Dreamville?
Last year, I dropped a song in a video, my first song, a video I put out. I got all on the blogs, and so after I dropped it, we had a couple meetings with like different labels and everything. I had met up with different artists too before Cole, and along the way, I met my manager Matt. He had the connection with Cole. He showed Cole the Dreams video. That's the name of the song in the video. And he invited me over to his crib. He was working in Hollywood. When he was working on his album last summer. So I went to his crib, played him the rest of my music. History right there. So.
And Omen, your path was similar to that, where you worked the blogs and Cole came and found you, or you came and found him, or what happened?
Omen's got the best one.
Nah,
it's funny.
I've known Cole since probably like 17.
Oh, okay.
And it is a little weird. It's a weirder story. So I'll try to keep it short. We were back in the day when it wasn't as weird. This wasn't as weird back then. So we came up. We were both fans of cannabis, like huge fans of cannabis at the time. And so he had a website.
Speak a little close to the microphone.
Yeah. He had a website. Cannabis had a website that like a bunch of rappers went on, just kind of sharing each other's rhymes, battling each other, and we basically kind of met on that site. This is like years ago. Eventually, I came to New York. He was living out here, going to St. John's. We met in person, and you know, so we're not weirdos. And really, just since then, we've been sharing music, hearing, you know, critiquing each other's work, beats, whatever. And I just been riding with him since then. And then it's not until this recent album I just put out, Elephant Eyes, that we made it a business relationship. So it's like I've known him forever, but it's new as far as like the Dreamville collaboration.
Got it. Boz, now I've seen your performances and heard more music from you than I have you two. I just heard you say you have an album out, so I got to get up on that. But Cozz, you have an album out as well right now?
It's a project. It ain't really my first album. It was supposed to be a free mixtape, but when I met up with Cole and everything, it kind of changed and we sold it. So I just call it my project.
For now. For now. But Boz, you this is like you single, you moving on this. This is your album. This is your look.
Yeah. We put out last April, and I just been touring it since. So that's really been a blessing. I went out, did our own tour, which had the SOB show. Went out and supported Ab Soul's tour. Now I'm out with Cole. And you know, just getting ready to put something new out. It's been like a year and a half. I got kids that are like, yo, I seen you 6 times this year.
Yeah. And that's what you want, though.
Yeah, that's what you want. But in my head, I'm like, damn, you seen the same set 6 times this year. So I got to get, you know, but it's a blessing to be able to, you know, not waste music. Like I finally got I think for the first time we got like real anticipation for the next joint because we put one out that was good and made people come out, and we went out and performed it and touched those fans, and now it's like, yo, I'm looking forward, you know, to the next one. So it's just about stroking that flame.
You know, it's funny because I was watching the video to Lit, right? You know, he samples Miguel's Do You. So then I was thinking, remember we had this conversation, it's one of my favorite Miguel songs.
Yes.
But you said that you're in the studio.
Oh, the bass and the
when this
808s
happened.
and mix the bass and the 808. But that's
So the Ebro's kind of part of your record also.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
worry
appreciate
about it.
that.
Nobody cares.
Ebro, we're bass heavy.
Because you know you get shy, but then he likes to slip it in. It's just extra.
We gotta
info.
get you an
I'm
like
a studio
an A&R credit.
like when I'm tired of being at home, like I don't play video games anymore. Like I have friends that work in the studio, so I just go to the studio. But not with, I don't like fuck with artists. Like I go and fuck with the musicians and then But it's not important.
We like hearing about it, Ebro, because for a long time we thought you just lied.
We thought you were, we would give him such a hard time about it, and then artists would come be like, no, he really was there. And we're like, oh.
He'd be like, nah, I just do this thing where I just add it. I'm like, you don't play any instruments, though. And he's like, no.
But who really plays instruments now with computers? Let's talk about it.
I mean, it's true.
There's some musicians, and then there's a bunch of people who play computers.
Yeah, that's
a good point.
That's their instrument.
I mean,
That's a good
honestly,
point.
we do live in an era where there's a lot of retitling and structuring of things that have to change because of technology.
Well, they already had there's already been a miscommunication, right? The miscommunication started when people thought the producer was the musician. Not true. The producer is the one who has the vision and brings the people together and constructs and mix and sometimes back in the day they had a different person who arranged the vocals and based on the producer's directions, right? Quincy Jones could play instruments, but he didn't play any on Thriller. He was the producer.
Yeah, right. He arranged.
You know what I mean? He arranged, he hired, he directed, he kept people focused. Right now, people think the producer's the person that actually makes the music, and sometimes it is. Right? We got into an era where the producer made the beat and gave the direction. Some producers play instruments. Jerry Wonder plays the bass, plays the guitar, also does drum programming, arranges vocals, right? He's the producer. You know, so there's already been kind of like a graying once you got the computer.
Well, and then there's beat makers who just send off beats, and then once you have the beat, you or someone else is going to produce the song,
Right,
and kind of put it all together.
There's engineers out here who are really producers.
And then there's some people who do absolutely fucking everything still.
Yes. So there was already a blurring of the lines where it's just kind of like, you know. And then you have people, and I was just a great transition, who are out here writing songs and helping people write their songs, right? Which, for those of us that have been in studios, there was always a collaborative effort of people coming up with ideas,
right,
and, you know, helping someone maybe get a pattern or a better cadence or maybe use this word instead of that word. But now, because of the Drake Meek Mill situation, the whole shit blew open. Now everybody's pointing fingers like Drake can't write, almost, right? Which we know is false.
Yeah.
And but from your guys' perspective, do you like, as loving hip hop and watching the Drake Meek Mill thing, I personally like it for music because it gets everyone involved in learning what's really happening with the contributors and who writes and studying lyric. Like, I like that. And I also like the competitive nature of hip hop. Like, I've always liked that. What's y'all's opinion on where things are right now?
I think first and foremost, I thought the coolest thing was like just the cultural impact. Like you have like Whataburger sending out tweets.
White Castle.
White Castle, you know, like that's powerful. I think that's great for hip hop, and it's making the world pay attention. As far as like the whole writing thing, I mean, Drake's one of the best songwriters, you know, probably that we've seen in hip hop. You know what I mean?
In the last at least 5 to 10 years. Right.
So, and I think it's always been a collaborative effort, and most of your best work is gonna come through a collaborative effort. I guess where it's tricky is hip hop is so perspective based. You know, there's some people that might be on the other side of the curtain could feel betrayed or be like, oh man, like I thought I was really in your mind, in your heart, whatever the case may be. But I think even then, like, I never heard those songs at any point and didn't think it was coming from Drake, you know? So
you did or did not?
Did not.
See, I always did. Because I mean, he has these records. I mean, listen, I know Drake. I like Drake, but he has records where he's talking about his tone as a person, I'm like, that's not what you sound like. Like he has aggressive tones on songs, and I didn't look at it he's a phony. I looked at it as he's sort of in character on this song.
Right.
But I guess some people feel frauded in that, and with Drake, I never felt that way. However, if Cole, for example, came out and didn't write his album, people would be hurt, and they'd really think, because a lot of people in hip hop are upset. They're like, why aren't people giving Drake as hard a time? And I think it's because people don't truly relate to his music in the way they do someone like Cole.
I don't agree with that.
What do you think?
I think that he's popular and he makes a lot of people feel great, and he's been popular for a long time, and he writes amazing music. We all know that.
But some of it he doesn't write,
and some of it he doesn't write.
Some of it's most amazing stuff.
And his fan base doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
they want to be entertained.
Yeah, at this point,
versus Cole's fan base
That's
is
what
a
I'm
little. Yeah, but I don't think that that's a knock against Drake. I think that's just the type of artist he is.
But no, me neither. But I'm saying the way that someone like Cole relates to people, like people, young people talk about J. Cole the way, like some people will talk about. I know this is an aggressive comparison, but like John Lennon or like some writer that really touches them and changes their life and is like, oh my God, you talk to my life. Like, I know that.
Yeah, we see it every night. I get notes from kids, and I run into kids at every show. They're like in tears, like, Cole saved my life. Like, I was gonna do this, I was going through this, he speaks to me. He speaks for us.
And then he might pay for your graduation, show up, and fill up your gas tank too. Like, he's that type of dude that's like wants to real connect.
Right.
Yeah, still connect with the people.
So but I think with Drake, and this isn't, and by the way, as I've said a few times now during this whole thing, Drake is, as far as running the game goes, in my opinion, a distant #1, the most popular person in rap, and I think that's just what it is. So what Drake's thing is not that, though. Drake's thing is everyone loves turning up to Drake. He makes a great album. He puts together a lot of great songs. He's great. But the writing part doesn't bother me because of the role he occupies. Versus if Cole or Kendrick turned out to not write these songs that are touching to people, I think it would be more impactful. But there are some people in rap who are like mad at us almost, right? Because we're not coming out and being like, no, fuck that. Drake doesn't get to be #1 anymore because we found out he didn't write everything. And I just don't think that makes sense with Drake.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the right perspective. Is he does occupy a different lane. It's almost like a pop star in a sense, you know what I mean?
But it wasn't that always the plan?
Yes, and that's, by the way, how Meek messed up. Because Meek just should have said, yo, bro, you're a pop star, I'm a rapper. And that should have been the argument. Now you're getting into an argument of like, let's just see who raps better. They both rap really well, but Drake has way more fans.
Yeah.
No one wants it with Drake because of popularity.
And
you don't
have
want
to factor in that Drake can
and he can rap. Right.
But then the other piece you have to factor in is there was a period there where Drake was putting out so much music at such a frequent basis, right? Mixtape things or just loose songs that he was just coming out. That was, and features for everyone, because that was the other thing. Remember, he talked about like, I'm tired of doing favors for everyone, and and this and that, where it was just kind of like, look, yo, help me out with this, man. I got a lot of material I got to write, and I got a lot of shit I got to do, and I need some fucking help, man. And I need some people to get some shit going for me so I can keep this shit moving. And I think that's really what happened. Was he brought people into his circle to help him deal with the workload. Right, instead of where some artists may go away for 18 months, 2 years, Drake didn't do that.
But again, Ebro, if a different artist did that same thing, I might think they were a fraud. I don't think that with Drake, and that sounds like I'm giving an excuse, but it's just because of what he is. Like if Kendrick got busy on his next album, and he was like, this next album's like To Pimp a Butterfly 2, and I'm talking about all these social issues, and it's really deep, and it's like, oh, by the way, I need 3 other people to come write it with me. That wouldn't be right. Like But in the case of Drake, where it's like my song is running through the 6 with my woes, it ain't that deep. Like it's the performance of the song that makes the song.
His tone of voice, right? Because that's another thing that flies out the window. And I know we getting deep in rap is like.
I mean, listen, we got a bunch of rap nerds in the room. We should go deep with rap.
Like a lot of times, one of my discrepancies with current hip hop is yes, there's some guys with great lyrics, but their voice is not special. And when you go back in history and you look at rap on a timeline, if you can identify by voice, the different Jay's voice is distinctly different than Big, than Snoop, than Cube, than Chris, than Nas, like just their sound. Before you get to their words, before you get to their music, right? It's the same thing, and that's the performance piece that I think is left out of hip hop to its detriment a little bit, which is kind of what waters down hip hop to me. Is everybody feels just because I have great words that I should be a great artist, and that's not necessarily true. And I think that's kind of the piece that the fan of hip hop, that's the inside baseball kind of music entertainment discussion that people don't want to necessarily have, because they think, just because so and so has great words that they deserve to be the greatest. And that, it doesn't work like that.
I mean, frankly, Meek is as good a writer, lyricist, and his delivery is generally amazing. I love Meek.
And his emotion.
And also, let's be clear about this also. This needs to be said on record. We haven't said this yet. Dreams and Nightmares intro is probably the best piece of work that has been made either by Drake or Meek Mill ever. In my opinion, it's the best song either of them has ever made. I think Meek owns that song. However, if Meek got some of the help that Drake got for some of those hooks, he might be in a different place also as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, being an amazing writer, you know how many amazing writers all of us have known who are great MCs who didn't get to even nearly the level Meek did because all they really were was great writers and rappers. They didn't have the hooks. They didn't have all the extra shit. Drake isn't the illest verse writer ever, but he's very good. And then he gets these amazing hooks and amazing songs, and we have a perfect package.
And he surrounds himself with a crew of people who, shout to 40 and everyone else that's there helping put music together and create a music sound, right? And the reason we get in this debate is because obviously artists send us music all the time and say, yo, what do you think? And I'll have to say, yo, your words are great, your song sucks.
Right.
Or your words are great, but there's nothing special about your voice. It's not going to cut through the other offerings. You know what I mean? What's special? It's like being on a shelf in a supermarket. How are you going to jump out and get someone's attention to make you matter?
Yo, who are some of your favorite, if you could each name one or two, whatever, rappers who you don't think get the shine they deserve, but you really are like, yo, this person.
And not including yourself.
And not being like, oh, my crew only.
Nah. Shoot, old school, new school, doesn't matter.
Like anything you want.
Shine. I can tell you favorite artists. I don't know.
Shine? Did you say Shine?
No.
Oh, you're saying general.
I'm thinking about like you.
Some people do say Shine, by the way. A lot of people do say Shine.
Nah, I like old school rappers though. I listen to like Eminem, Bone Thugs. I can't even think of the top of my head right now. I like ODMX, of course. A bunch of the typical old school Tupac.
By the way, very distinct sound differences. Artist to artist, very distinct perspectives. That was another thing that's lost in hip hop right now. It was a violation to be similar. It was called biting. Like, fam, you sound like them. No.
Yeah, everybody sounds the same right now.
Get out of here with that. Right? You know what I'm saying? Yo, fam, they're using this producer over here. We got to go find ours. Like, that was a thing. Find your sound. Yeah. Right? Which is why the Premiers and the Pharrells and the Swiss Beats became so major, because they had Timbaland, distinctly different, Dr. Dre, distinctly different sounds.
Right.
Which is,
we kind of preach that all the time. And it's dope because we have like a real, as far as like my production, the bulk of it is handled by, Ron Gilmore and Cedric Brown, who are, one is Cole's stage manager and the other one's his keyboard player. And we just been on the road the past 3 years, like developing a sound, because we're together, all the time. Like, we'll be in hotels. I made, probably half my album in hotels or on the tour bus. And so I definitely agree with that, because I know now we have some between us, at least the chemistry that is unique, and now when we present that to the world, it's like, I know nothing sounds like this, and that's the main thing, because it really is. It's so many people like just on trap records, auto-tuned up, that it's like you don't even know who's who anymore. You couldn't even tell. There's nothing distinct about it. Whereas then you hear like, you hear Workout still on the radio. Can't get enough still on the radio, because Cole carved his own. Different. Right, it's his own lane. Even his radio sound is his own radio sound.
And Cole, he's not here. We'd love to have you come by sometime when you find time. Works for that, fought for that. Right, where people are like, oh, you need to bring other producers in. He's like, nah, I'm do my thing. Let me do my thing. Fought for it, and to this day. And now look, he's got an album, no features on it, platinum album. You know what I mean? And he fought for that. Right, he worked through that. Yeah, Omen, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that's the whole brand, the whole Dreamville brand's aesthetic is almost based off like, it's like an old school point of view, because nowadays everybody has like might have 6, 7, 8 different producers on the album, but I mean, your project is mostly produced by Ron Gilmore and Cedric Brown. Cole is mostly produced by him. I produce my own album. Cozz produces me's and maybe one or two other people.
Shouts to OG and the Paris crew.
For sure.
Definitely
but like,
send them.
there's a consistent sound on all of the projects we worked on, and I think that's, to me, it makes a better project.
Do you want input from?
Yeah, for sure.
Your coworkers, your colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, input always helps because that's helped you grow. But I think if you want a consistent, you want to get your own sound. Sometimes it needs to come from one or two people. Like if you have 7 different people, it's not gonna get a consistent sound usually. You know, so I think that's that's our whole brand is based on that.
All right, now none of y'all told me any rappers that you listen to that other people.
I would say somebody that I think that like didn't
get to just do that.
I think Blue from LA. I still like him. I think
Blue. He's exactly what I'm looking for. Like people like that who an MC's MC who people really fuck with.
Yeah.
Yeah, who didn't get the shine.
Boz, go ahead.
Man, that's tough. I think probably Gemini. They used to rap with Lupe. I'm not sure what happened to him, but I remember when I was heavy into Lupe, like in his first come up, every verse I heard from that dude, I was like, this dude's nice. But I don't know if I ever got like a project. That's all I could think of off top. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really get to listen to a lot of rap because we're always creating, so I'm always looking for inspiration.
Where do you go for that inspiration?
Just like alternative music. I got this band, the Hicks in London, that I've been rocking with for a bit, and I hit them on Twitter. We just did like 2 songs for my album when I flew out there on the Cold tour, and they were just really inspiring. Something completely different. They're like they got like alternative vibe and like 90s R&B melodies. It's something something new. And nowadays everyone's just kind of rehashing what everyone else is doing, so there's just no inspiration to be found. So I find myself just listening less and less hip hop, really.
Omen, with your project Elephant Eyes, is it completely produced by you? Do you have any features, or is it all your complete body of work that's yours?
It's 11 songs, and I produced 9 of them, and the other 2 were produced by Ron Gilmore. But I have Boz featured on it, and J. Cole, and this amazing singer named Ari Lennox.
So mostly home team.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever have any issues with? Do you guys ever beef over the Oz sound in your name?
Are you guys gonna be a rap group, Boz and Cozz, Cozz and Boz?
Nah, we gonna dead that right now. Ain't gonna be no Boz and Cozz.
Wait, why?
No, it's Boz and Cozz. Like we cool, we gonna make records together, but
never an album.
I can't say that. We got
They're not gonna be a super group though called Boz and Cozz.
Nah, it's not gonna be no thing like Boz and Cozz. We got that now.
Yeah, we just turn up. We turning up for the shows, but we got some records, man. For real.
Yeah,
there's only one out, but I think the whole team is so much trust and chemistry at this point that it's like fun. It's never like stressful. We get in the studio and we just bang these records out. And it's you got to be able to trust someone to tell you in the collaborative effort, like, yo, this might sound better, or yo, let's try this. And even if it's your song, your child, your baby, you got to be like, oh, well, you know what? This guy's idea is actually kind of better.
Your baby's breath stinks. We got to fix that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I could definitely see myself like working on like a mixtape with Boz or something like that's not what I meant. I meant just the name and.
No, I know. I'm fucking with y'all. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. The Boz and Cozz.
Boz and Cozz.
The album.
Yeah. Nah.
Boz and Cozz present?
Yeah. I don't know.
What about the Boz Cozz?
No.
The Boz Cozz.
It's almost like Roz Cozz.
I'm about to say Rozcast might come for you real quick.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. Boz, Omen, and Cozz, it was a pleasure meeting y'all, bro.
Appreciate
good luck,
y'all.
man, with all the endeavors. Shout to Dreamville and the whole family over there. Anything we left out y'all want to touch before we get out of here?
Nah, a lot of good nerd talk, man. It's a dope.
I was happy with our rap nerd talk.
Yeah, good kids, good music. I love what Dreamville's doing, man. This is a very special thing. I'm almost jealous of teenagers.
Fam, you have a job, B.
What do you mean? No, I'm not jealous of them. I'm jealous of their fans.
You can be a fan too.
No, but it's not the same. I am a fan, but like I see the way that young people are with Dreamville, and it's.
You want to cry at one of the shows?
No, it just reminds me. I already got to live through it once. It was so. I'm not trying to sound like. I'm not trying to say that I'm too old for the music, but I say this a lot. When people ask me about Cole, I'm like, I'm a fan of Cole, and I think Cole's. I put him in the top 2 or 3 MCs in the game actively right now. but I also can't pretend that I'm able to feel about Cole the way a 19-year-old is, because I already had that experience with Q-Tip and A Tribe Called Quest. Like, I lived through that.
Right.
So it's a different thing. So I'm happy for these kids who get to follow this Dreamville movement, because it's a special thing. You can just see it from afar.
And on that, I think it should be noted too, like when people ask about like the state of hip hop, I think it's in an amazing place.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, we had in the 90s, we had some hip hop tours. There were some, and they were cool. You know, Smoking Grooves, you had, you know, Up in Smoke, there were some things. But the consistency of shows and rap shows right now on a major level, and selling merch and tickets and just the whole thing that you can create as a rapper and a hip hop artist that can sustain yourself, fuck media, fuck all that shit. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Man, Chicago, we just saw what, like 28,000 people pack out that amphitheater on the tour. You know, like,
That's nuts.
That's incredible. And I'm a year and a half ago, we were doing the What Dreams May Come tour, and that was like 4,500 people.
Yeah.
You know, so I was there like, man, it's just incredible what you can do if you just keep doing it. You know, stay on the road, keep touching
stay
the
true
fans.
to what your brand
Right.
is about and yourself and what you believe.
Right.
Good for you, man. Give it up for these guys, man. Nice meeting y'all.
Good time.
Appreciate y'all.
Y'all.